Hello, I'm back with another Let's Talk, so let's get right into it. As of this time, you may or may not have heard about the rumors concerning the title of Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 is supposedly going to drop the 4 in the title according to Laura Kate Dale, and will be released on the Switch as a reboot. Though that isn't what I wanted to talk about, it is worth mentioning as we now have the possibility of seeing the new Pikmin on the Nintendo Switch with a different set of controls or gameplay elements. So I want to discuss what ideas and hopes I have that I would like to see in the new Pikmin game. Note that these will be gameplay ideas and not story ideas. Let's start with the changes I'd like to see if the control scheme and gameplay is going to success what was implemented in Pikmin 3. Pikmin 3 was a baggage of a whole bunch of new controls and gameplay elements from its predecessors, some of which I liked, some of which I didn't. Let's talk about what I want to return. First, the Go Here function. This is undoubtedly the best gameplay mechanic we got in Pikmin 3. Pikmin is a game about managing your resources effectively, and with 3 captains in the Go Here function, you can multitask like never before, sending captains to areas you have previously discovered while controlling another captain. Second is the automatic plucking of sprouts. This is a great mechanic which saves time which was otherwise just used on a mundane task. In Pikmin 2, you had to take control of the captain and manually pluck the Pikmin. In Pikmin 3, you could send a captain with the Go Here function, and they would automatically pluck the Pikmin and wait for your control again. These 2 functions are amazing for multitasking, as it's no longer a hassle to try and control multiple armies at the same time. Third is the new mechanics for throwing Pikmin, albeit with a change. Pikmin 1 and 2 had you throw whichever Pikmin were currently behind you, which meant rapidly throwing specific Pikmin could result in you throwing the wrong Pikmin. Pikmin 3 changed this by splitting all the Pikmin into their own subcategories and having you throw one type until you threw them all or switch the category. This was very nice because for a boss like the Armored Maw-Dad, you'd throw all your rock Pikmin to break the crystals instead of accidentally throwing a red Pikmin which wouldn't be able to break it. The only downside is that if you were throwing a certain type of Pikmin and one of those Pikmin fell behind, you would be unable to throw any Pikmin until that one came to you or until you switched Pikmin types. This can be distracting if you need to throw a bunch of Pikmin at once without looking at your count, and then all of a sudden you can't throw anymore, throwing you off. I hope that they change this to make it throw all of the selected type of Pikmin in your squad, and if one is out of range, then it would just throw whichever Pikmin is nearest to you, making it so that you don't have to worry about switching Pikmin types. One more thing that Pikmin 3's throwing mechanics introduced was the ability to throw captains, which made for an amazing new way to solve puzzles in-game. All these changes are great in my mind, and if they ever remake the second Pikmin, I would love to see these mechanics implemented. Other small changes that I would like to see kept are the ability for any Pikmin to wield bomb rocks, the nectar being used by only 10 Pikmin, the automatic harvesting of ultra spicy berries, and the little speech bubbles from the characters. I feel these small changes were good improvements to the game that needed to be done. Now let's look at what I feel should be changed. First and foremost, I want them to bring back the biggest control that was absent from the third installment, swarming. Pikmin 3 tried to change out the way it did swarming with the new charge command. While interesting to attack a single enemy, it wasn't very necessary, and removed a core control from the first 2 Pikmin games. With charging, you can attack one enemy or charge one item to collect. This requires locking on and then dismissing, which if you do too fast might not work properly. That's all that this provided. With swarming, not only could you put Pikmin on more than one entity, you could also maneuver your Pikmin while walking through areas or hazards. In Pikmin 3, I constantly leave Pikmin that get caught behind the smallest things because I can't directly control their movement. Swarming is something I wish to return, and with the Switch's controls, there is a good chance that it will. Second, I wish for them to have far less cutscenes. This one is way more personal, but I disliked how Pikmin 3 constantly broke the flow of the game with the game taking control of the camera. This is especially apparent with the bosses, as the game always has to make a small cinematic to reveal the boss. I loved in Pikmin 1 and 2 when you just walked into the unknown and the boss just appeared. It didn't disrupt you or take time, you went in, the boss came, and you fought, which is much better for a real-time strategy game. Having that many cutscenes makes me feel like I'm just continuing a preset story rather than making the story my own. Lastly, the new Pikmin's level design needs to be improved and made similar to the first game's levels. Once you land in a level, you should be able to explore most of the level almost immediately. Compared to Pikmin, and to an extent Pikmin 2, Pikmin 3's exploration was almost non-existent. You always followed the same path to unlock the next path in almost every level. Pikmin 3 offered very little free choice and strategy, and one thing they also did was split the main levels into multiple different parts. While I understand why this was done, to me, it's like the cutscenes and it really breaks the flow of the game to me. Hopefully with the power of the Switch, they should be able to have one expansive, cohesive level, rather than one that's broken into many parts. Another small thing I would like brought back is the camera controls of the first two games. Having only one view option for the third game was annoying, as I like the versatility of being able to move your camera in, out, or above. Also, please fix the Pikmin trying to grab onto moving items. Pikmin 2 had it done perfectly, and it was annoying having Pikmin in 1 or 3 not be able to grab onto items, often wasting time in Pikmin that could be used elsewhere. Now that I've covered what I wish to return and what I wish not to return, I'd like to discuss my own ideas for elements that could be added into the game. The first one dates back to when Pikmin 3 was still being shown before release. When it was shown that it could rain on levels, I had speculated the idea of there being a possible flash flood on the level, in which the water level could raise above its normal place. And this is something I think would be interesting to see. Dynamic weather or events changing parts of a level. If it's raining, maybe certain areas could only be accessed by blue Pikmin, or if it's snowing, ramps could be built out of the snow. Likewise, my friend Jordan thought of there being a possible tide that could rise over the course of the day. These would add much variation to each playthrough of the game. Another idea would only work depending on how big the levels are made. I would love to see multiple landing zones that you could use on a level. Just like how in most RTSs you expand your base, I can see it so where in Pikmin you can explore a level until you find another area that would be possible to land in. This would be a great addition to a large level because you could focus on either working on one part of the level or exploring until you find another part to land in, then later focusing on that area. An addition like this would allow you to come up with a multitude of different strategies to achieve the objective. Lastly, this idea is only possible if all the captains were to return in the new Pikmin game. If all the captains were to return in the new Pikmin, I wouldn't want more than 3 to be playable at one time, but I would still love to be able to play as all of them. So what if, in addition to selecting which part of the area you wish to land in, you also select 3 of the captains you wish to explore with? This could be taken further with strategic value, as you could make each captain excel in one trait. Say everyone has the same base stat, but Olimar can throw Pikmin further, or Louie can run faster, or maybe Alf can reveal more things on the radar. Charlie could have more power behind his solo punches, Brittany could pluck Pikmin faster, and the President could have more health. None of these would be required to complete puzzles or anything, but it gives the player more freedom in their choice of exploring a level. I think these ideas could work wonderfully in a new Pikmin game, as they would allow for a significant increase in replayability and strategy. And one final thing outside of the main game that I would love to see is the return of all previous challenge modes. The challenge mode in the first game was something I really enjoyed, because it gave you so much to collect and very little time to do it. Battle Enemies was somewhat of a successor to it, but it was designed to just kill enemies, and could easily be beaten before time ran out, whereas the first challenge mode is just to collect as much as you can before the end of the day. Regardless, seeing each challenge mode return would be a great addition to the next installment. I obviously can't enclose all my thoughts of what I wish to stay or be changed into this video, but these are the thoughts that immediately come to my mind when I think about what the new Pikmin should have. But these are just my ideas on what the new Pikmin could have, and I'd love to hear everybody's thoughts on what they'd like to see in the new Pikmin. And so, I leave you with some of the Pikmin community's hopes for the new Pikmin. Please leave in the comments below what you'd like to see out of the next installment. See you next time!